You have to have a really good answer to identity. That's the foundation to all of these things. And that's why we built PRISM. PRISM is a self-sovereign identity platform. And the goal is that we can get strong identity infrastructure put in. Now, it just so happens that globalization is forcing all African nations to change the way that they do business because they're losing market access. When Starbucks wakes up and says, guys, we're only going to buy fair trade sustainable coffee, that's not a buzzword for an African farmer who puts his beans in the back of a donkey and rides it to a washing station. He now has to figure out, how the hell do I prove that I'm paying my workers fairly and I'm carbon neutral and all these other things? How do I even do that? It's not digitized. So the government has to show up and say, okay, well, how the hell do we prove that to Starbucks? And they say, well, we need a new system. And this is a great, rare market opportunity to leapfrog. You don't go to some legacy paper system. You just go straight to blockchain in that particular case. Just like when Pakistan said, we want everybody to have access to phones. So did they go and put millions of miles of copper in the ground? No. They put 4G towers and they leapfrog that entire infrastructure. There's no copper, there's 4G. That is, I think, that the two lessons I've learned from being in Africa for years and talking to people who are in Africa. I think the shift of the game to saying, look, everybody's young. The leaders are becoming young. The head of Ethiopia is a cryptographer. I think he's in his 40s or 50s. He's extremely well educated. He can read my papers. We have a very different conversation with him than we're going to have with Joe Biden. Okay. And given that there's a mandate and there's now a globalist demand to change the nature of these economies to accommodate different forms of attestation and supply chain, there's an opportunity to put in new systems. And those new systems can carry with them identity. And once you have identity, you have everything, especially if it's built the right way. You now have a payment system. You now have a voter registration system. You now have provably fair elections. You now have a property registration system. You now have a way of creating stock markets and creating micro IPOs and micro lending and liquidity where it didn't exist before. And because you have identity, you have a reputation system. You have a reputation system that gives you the ability to do business with people.